Hey everyone, welcome to Let's Talk About the POTS Life, your go-to podcast for all things POTS. Whether you're living with POTS or supporting someone who is, this is the place for you.
Welcome back to season 2 of Let's Talk About the POTS Life.
It's crazy that we were even got through a season 1, let alone thinking about season 2, but I feel like it also came so quick.
Yeah.
In the grand scheme of things. So we are so excited. This is the first episode of season 2. I feel like we did so many cool things in season 1, but I feel like we also can take it up a notch in season 2.
Yeah, we've learned. We've gotten better. We are sitting in the same physical space for season 2 if you are seeing this. So we are growing day by day over here.
Yeah, it's so cool. So our first season, Britt and I podcast from separate locations, but this season we're from the same place and the same space. So I feel like that is growth in itself. So yes, very excited to kick off this season 2 with an episode about the October slide. I don't know if you've heard of that before, but it is something I had never heard of until I was diagnosed with POTS and really until I hit my first October. Mm-hmm. But I would say, and Britt and I will get into it, but she was here in office and heard a ton of people talking about it, plus seeing messages on the app. Things kind of go haywire come October.
It's like, if you're watching this live or when it's released, we are in October.
Yes.
And I popped into the office the other day and Kelsey was asking, how are people feeling? And everyone's response was, ugh.
It is. It's like, I said, if I could put a word with it's more of like a sound, but it is true. It's not terrible. They're not as low as you were when you're diagnosed, but also basically what happened to me in October is you go along, your things are working, everything's, you're using all your tools.
You're feeling good.
Yeah, and they're working. But then come October, and really it just comes down to the weather changing, and some swear by barometric pressure. Who's to say? Maybe that's true. But it's the weather change, and because we go from very warm to very cold, and no matter which type you prefer, I'm one of the people that oddly prefer a steady warm level versus like a lot of POTS patients hate the heat. I just tend to do better. And then we come to these 60-degree days or rain comes unexpectedly. It's just POTS gets used to whatever you're at. So maybe you're not one that loves heat, but your body has adjusted to that. Or I love being warmer and then here comes the cold and you get symptoms and that you don't get, I would say maybe 10, 11 months out of the year.
Right. And to put in perspective for anyone that doesn't have POTS, when the seasons change, if you have allergies, you know how you feel. I'm that way. You always get congested. Things are blooming, whether it's a change to the spring or a change to the fall. There's always, something that's your body has to adjust to it. Unless you're living in the perfect 70 degrees year-round place.
No humidity.
If you are, we want to know where that is. But in Pennsylvania, that's not the weather we have.
No,
so
it's not.
We have to adjust. And living in a POTS body, you are sticking to your routine. Hopefully you are exercising, doing your strength training, getting your electrolytes in, and then you still aren't feeling well at this time.
No, and it's frustrating because like you just said, you use this bag of tricks, but the bag of tricks isn't enough.
You can't find the right one.
And it's like no matter how much you do of each, it doesn't work. And I think I was so frustrated my first October. Even my first 2, I ended up in the ER because things were going along great. And then this hit and I was so defeated and mentally annoyed and frustrated and then physically feeling bad. So it is so normal. We felt like it was important to address it because not that we have this magic cure, I wish, to get you through October, but just knowing like, hey, it's okay. This happens. That it's relatable and that it will pass. And I think that's key.
Yeah, and you are 4 years?
Yeah, so it'll be...
In some months?
Yeah, it'll be 5 years in October. And I mean, geez, oh man, look, because we're talking about October. 5 years in April that I was diagnosed. And even this October, I hate to even say symptoms because it's not. They're like baby things that I feel compared to I did, that first year. But I still get some of that leg achiness. I still get a little bit of dizziness. And when I don't get these symptoms any other times of the year. And it's just when it goes from being 85 on Sunday to 60 on Tuesday. For me, it's like, the wheels just come off. And I say that with like an asterisk because
they didn't come all the way off.
No,
they weren't like off 4.5 years ago where you're crawling upstairs and you are going to the ER.
I mean, barely making it out. No, it's just for me. And I think as you move through your POTS treatments, especially being type A, like I like everything to be status quo. And the minute things aren't, or I feel a little hiccup of that, I'm like, oh my gosh, what is this? So, but it also shows you're right, where I was 4 years ago. I mean, I was in a rough spot. I was in the ER in October.
Yeah. And you shared that your family is here for those type A's out there. If you have a good support system that can bring you back to reality, where it's like, Kelsey, think about this.
This is like, October. This is October.
Why do you think you're feeling this?
So a couple of the other Octobers, my family would be like, I don't know. And then they'd be like, you know what? This must be the slide this year because I'm like a seasoned pro.
Yeah.
So my husband and my mom were like, do I need to remind you what month it is?
Right.
I'm like, I know that. I still get mad, that I get these symptoms, but it just fits. I can use all the tools. I can have all the salt. I can go through every tool in the toolbox and do it just right. But this time of year is just bumpy. A lot of the patients in office or even at migraines, a ton of migraines we see. Luckily, that's not something I've ever had to experience. I honestly can't imagine. They sound horrible.
Yeah.
But those also increase. So like Britt said, even outside of POTS, if you don't have POTS, but you have migraines, you see those pop off more. It's just the pressure change and season change and our body's adjusting. So illness this time of year is tough. So that adds to
kids going back to school and all the germs that are flying out there. Right. You could have just been hit with the back to school bug and then you get back and then October hits you.
And it's hard, like we were saying in Pittsburgh, I'd like to say just October, but this weather change could happen in September it did this and then it went back to like 90. And then here we are beginning-ish of October. It was 85 on Sunday and then here 60. So
we had a frost warning last night.
Yes, right. And so and my body doesn't know. That's the only other thing I really experience at this time is my body doesn't know, should I be hot? Should I be cold?
Yes.
Or you start the morning maybe in a hoodie and then you're in shorts midday if we're at sports or something. And then by evening, like last evening, my husband brought my youngest to soccer practice where I already was. And my youngest wanted to go home and he was like, do you want to go? I'm like, yes. Like I didn't even give him a choice to really because it was getting damp, it was getting cold, and I knew it was better for me to just go home and get kind of like in a steady temperature.
Yes.
So I didn't have to deal with that like big swing.
Fluctuation. And that's a really great tip that during this time of year, when the weather is kind of, it's nice when you wake up and it's not super hot, but it could get hotter in the day, is to make sure you are dressed in layers so that your body can adjust throughout the day with the changing temperatures.
And I am, this is not sponsored, but at this point it should be because I am like full body, the heat gear from Amazon. My husband jokes that, you can find them anywhere. I tend to buy them there, but he jokes like if it's raining and it's cold out, like be careful so I don't get electrocuted because I have the heated vest. If it's super cold, I have the heated gloves. And I'm looking at the long heated coat. And a patient of mine was like, Kelsey, I would die. I'm looking for the AC coat. Right. I have to like prepare in layers. So yes, maybe it's not that cold to somebody, but if my body gets cold too fast, I feel worse.
Yes.
So, I used to coach my son's soccer team and they'd be like, Coach Kelsey, is that on? Because they would see the little light on the left side of my chest of it heating up. So it's just, everybody has like their tricks, but that is one of mine. It's like, the brand is Oro or something like that. And I'm telling you, I have all their pieces. If you're somebody who gets cold easily, get it. It's on Amazon.
And we will accept your sponsorship if you listen to this.
Yeah, it is. It's a game changer for me. If I can kind of keep my core warm and now like the long jacket, I was looking at it today.
Yeah. And this ties into some other tips that can help you because, for anyone that is cruising along, you're doing okay, you're seeing improvement, and then this is a little hiccup in your journey.
For sure.
To make sure that you're prioritizing all of those tools that you said, even though you still be in that hiccup for a little bit of time. You said about temperature regulation, eating is an important thing with that too. Once you eat, your blood moves to the core to help you digest. And so that's why you might get cold after you eat food. Being mindful that you are eating small meals throughout the day to help try to keep that blood sugar and your core temp a little bit more stable throughout the day.
Right, because you basically need to make sure that you do all of your pieces just right.
Yes.
So eating the big meals or skipping. Britt and I were talking about people, getting nauseous. And I mean, I get it. If you're nauseous, how do you want to eat?
Right.
But if you don't eat, then you have the blood sugar issues. Or then when you do eat, then all that blood's going there. So just trying to find a consistent pattern or foods that don't make it worse. But you don't want to be starving and then trying to stuff a big meal in and then feeling worse. You got to keep everything as consistent. And I wish that there was that magic pill, but we say all this and do this episode to tell you that you're not alone. Right. It is real. The symptoms are frustrating, mentally exhausting, I think, at times. But like, it will get better. You just have to weather the storm.
Absolutely. Yeah. And prioritizing your electrolytes during this time, making sure you're getting enough water, and you're doing your exercise program. Because if you're not doing that, your blood's not. What is your perfect example? There's water bottles of blood at your feet.
Blood is staying in your feet, and you have to. The only thing that is really going to kick that is to move the blood around. Yep. So you do what you know. And if you are in the program, you know that, I mean, we don't have to prove it to you. You feel it by getting blood flow. You feel better. So what I tell people is sometimes if you're having a really rough couple weeks, just skip the exercise and get the biking. Yeah. Kick the biking more. If you're getting over an illness, let's worry about the biking more and then bring the strength training back in when we have to, because that is more important and more beneficial to get that blood flowing.
Because you could always go backwards and go slower 100%. On the bike. We're not here to break a sweat or, get to a milestone.
Even if they don't do the full amount.
Right, just some movement.
Just something to get movement. I mean, I'll be honest, this week we had our POTS event earlier in the week, and it was a busy week. Change in weather, all of the things. And I will tell you, like, getting on the treadmill yesterday really helped me.
Yeah.
And I even this time of year, like, Trioral, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is like a heavier,
very salty,
very, very salty. I use that today. So like, there's just some days where I can tell that I need a little bit more. And that's where you can also play with it. Like, yes, on the regular, am I an element girl? For sure. But sometimes I need like a heavier hitter, or if I know if I can, I'm just kind of down and out. So just listening to your body, but also make sure you're getting enough of everything. And then you might need a little extra of whatever that is. Biking, meals, more frequent meals, salt, whatever makes you feel better or kind of helps you just get through to weather this storm.
And for a lot of folks, myself included, exercise for me is like a mental health break. It helps my brain focus, recharge, and all of that, turn off for a minute. So even during this time where you might have these hiccups, if you're that person that like, being structured and making sure I'm doing my exercise helps me mentally, definitely prioritize that, because you got to keep everything firing at all cylinders.
Because it is frustrating. It's still frustrating 5 years out to be like, why am I dizzy a little bit today? And it's nothing like it was, but it's also hard when you've gone along, no matter what stage you're at, when you've gone along and you don't feel these things and they all come back. It's hard not to be like, that's it, I'm going backwards. How, like, it's that overwhelming fear or anxiety component of this. And, I say that with like, we all relate to it. It will get better. Yes. Try not to panic. Easier said than done. Yeah. I mean, I for sure panicked. Yeah.
And since our fall kicks off in October, and then we have holidays back to back after this, it's a busy time of year. So it's never great to start that busy time of year with a little symptom flare.
Right. And the weather could change into November.
Right. Yep. Yeah, we could have snow or 80 degrees.
Yeah,
it's really unpredictable.
Yeah, you never know.
So again, making sure you have those tools and you are prioritizing yourself from now throughout the entire holiday season, choosing the events that you can attend, letting those people in your family, in your life know, I need to prioritize this.
Yeah, I mean,
or I can't make any of this.
Yeah, this is a rough time for me. I think that's Britt and I have been talking, and we saw a lot of people at the event and saying there were new patients coming, and they were kind of like, well, it's frustrating for her because she can't go to this on, like, say, Friday, and then she can't go to the next 3 things, and people just don't understand. And we all, quote unquote, look fine. And then, like, how do you describe that? It is true. It's frustrating because, I mean, you can maybe make it through whatever one event, but then the next 3 events you're not able to make, or it doesn't even matter. It might not even be consecutive. It's just like, it could be small things, just going to like a family dinner or whatever. And this inconsistency comes in, and then that's where people don't understand. So the more you can open up and share and say, hey, this is what I'm going through, especially this time of year. I think to be more transparent. Again, this also is easier said than done. I didn't tell anybody I had POTS. And so I get it, but I think I've learned, and it's like that with anything, the more transparent and open you can be, I think people are more receptive when they have the details. But with this type of illness, it's silent in terms of there's no outward sign. And the more you can open up and share, I think people are more receptive or understanding.
Yeah, and just, it can put it in perspective as to why you can't do that. You talked about in the past, one of our participants worked over the weekend. They worked Friday, Saturday, Sunday, but then by Monday, they weren't really able to muster it up to go to work that
100%.
day.
So she worked at Sephora, and you're standing,
the whole shift.
All day, the light. I feel like under those like makeup type lights, it's hot, and there's so much visual input. There's auditory
and smells, I'm sure.
Yeah. I mean, all of it. So it's kind of a disaster for POTS. And what happened was she would work those days, and then she had to end up taking off so many Mondays and Tuesdays because she does enough to get through. But then people didn't understand that come Monday, Tuesday, she was like whooped and
her
recovering.
Cup
and
was done.
Like she just overflowed every weekend, and then would kind of get it back and then do it again in this ugly cycle that you just can't get off of. But she's like, it's hard because people don't understand that because they see me Friday, Saturday, Sunday being fine, which is true on the outside. Right. You don't know what she's doing on the inside.
Yeah, it's a great story that I think we should cover later without employment. Accommodations that you might need to ask for in the workplace and what that looks like, legally every employer will accept an accommodation. We could maybe have someone help us talk that through,
Yeah, and like what that process looks like. And I do know from some patients, it's not easy.
Right.
Some it's okay, others it isn't. But I just thinking how to like advocate for yourself or even how to open the door of the conversation is definitely something we should cover and will cover in season 2. I think, sharing the story is great, but then also giving you the tools like, okay, we have POTS, but like now what? And this is affecting all different parts of my life, and this is just one of them.
Yeah, because in your example with Sephora, if I'm calling off every Monday, I'm going to look like a bad employee.
That's what she said.
And the truth is, I'm not a bad employee. I just physically, because of my condition, I can't do it.
And to complicate that story even more, there was another employee there that has POTS, but hers was different. So she would pass out and then kind of get back up and go back to her life, where this girl, hers were like different. And I also think there's this misconception as, well, you're not as bad as me. Like, you don't pass out. So why do you need to sit? But she's passing out. She needs to sit. But that's so, especially with POTS, I feel like that is just like an outdated statement or untrue. I mean, you can't compare everybody's story because internally you don't know what people are feeling. So like that one was even complicated by that. So I think it's for sure a topic that needs addressed.
Because that's like the one outward facing symptom of POTS that is the most recognizable, 100%. Right? Is someone passing out.
Right. And scary.
Yes.
Like severe, which is 100% accurate. So there are, not that there aren't. There are plenty that do pass out, but not everyone does. So I think it's just something that needs addressed, and we can, dive into that in another episode.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if we could summarize this up with 2 tips for how to survive this October slide.
Weather the storm.
Yeah. What do you have for us?
I would say first is exercise. Right type of exercise at the right dosage. Any movement is better than no movement.
Absolutely.
Also, your water and electrolytes. You need that blood volume. If you're watching us, we both have our waters. You need that blood volume you need the salt to bind to the fluids to increase that blood volume to then lower the adrenaline and allow the exercise to help more. So that is key. So that's kind of one. And the second is just give yourself grace. This is a rough period. Mentally, I think it's at times crushing. In the beginning, I will tell you, I was standing in my kitchen sobbing. I mean, I'm 30, have 2 kids of my own, and my mom's like, where do we have to fly? Where do we have to go? We'll do whatever. And it was just that time of year because I had kind of strung along a few good months. And then, and not perfect, but there was improvement. And then October came and the floor got ripped out from under me. So I know it is rough. I know it is tough, but just giving yourself grace. It will pass. Use all your tools that you know how to. If you're still feeling symptomatic, lay down at the end of the day. Know tomorrow's a new day and it will pass. Just weather the storm.
And this is one of the pros of joining the POTS Life program is that it's customizable, that during this time of year, if you can't move forward in the program or actually need to move backwards because you had a slide a little bit bigger than you thought, we can adjust your program so that you can go backwards and still feel like you're making progress and you're feeling good. That's one of the huge benefits of the POTS Life program.
I mean, the messages I saw came through today. Hey, can we adjust this? I didn't feel as good. Or honestly, in that chat feature, I think that is one of the most underrated parts in the app because we're walking through it with you.
100%.
So these feelings that you're having at home, you don't know what they are. Send a message and then we can say, hey, this is, the amount of times I've said, this is the October slide. This is what you expect to feel. This is, so it's everything we're saying here, but then more individualized, especially if you're a woman around like with her cycle time plus the October slide, like things are just compounding. And I think that chat feature is just so underestimated. We are doing the program with you. We are adjusting it. It is real life responses and we are helping you work through it and just giving you that support or reassurance that, hey, this is normal. It'll pass and we're here to help you get through it.
Yeah, we're not an AI. We are real people that are answering.
Real humans, yes, that are there because POTS is strange and it's weird and symptoms come and go. And especially if you were, stringing along a few good months and then this happens, it is so normal. Yeah.
Well, welcome to season 2. We're excited to have you with us. Don't forget to like and subscribe to all of the things so that you get alerted with the new episodes we put out.
Yes, we are also, all of our episodes, if you want to watch, will be on YouTube and you can follow along, obviously, there and just watch as we continue to share all the things in season 2. And we can't wait to see you next time.